what was going through you whenever God called you to start your ministry?
Oh, I was kicking and screaming. It was bad. I was like, I'm just getting healed up. I'm happily married. I'm stable. I'm moving in ministry in another way again. I did everything in my power to not plant a church. We went through in Atlanta a really tough church split. To see it split did something to me on levels that I didn't really have language for. With healing came another level of trust. I followed God. I felt pain following him. I knew that as long as I stayed connected and submitted to him, whatever he was telling me to do, he was going to bless us. I was terrified. I did it, and honestly, every fear that I had about it has just been not real. Like everything the devil told me about planting a church was a lie.
Today on the ChurchCandy podcast, I am sitting down with Pastor Apostle Bishop Taurus Solomon. How's it going, man?
It's going great. It's going great. Really glad to be here.
Man, I'm excited to have you on. So I know you guys planted your church, you've grown a lot. We actually got connected because we were helping you promote your event, Cultivate.
Yes.
So that was over a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me about like what it's been like church planting and jumping into what you guys have going on.
Church planting has been a joy, I was so hesitant, I come from a ministry family like most preachers. And I was so hesitant about church planting because I've heard horror stories about that first year and all the things that people go through. And I can honestly say, it's been a joy. We've had a lot of fun. We're touching a lot of lives. We're impacting our community. We're growing at a healthy, steady pace. And I'm really proud of and honored of how God's blessed the work that we're doing.
Yeah, man. So what made you guys want to plant your church?
Really, Brady, it was the word of the Lord. Like I did everything in my power to not plant a church. I started an online school. I was hosting conferences. I was traveling itinerantly, writing books, like everything in my power to do everything but plant a church. But when it became evident to me that, people in the DFW area were hungry for what God had placed inside of me, it started making me feel selfish and started making me feel bad that I wasn't, building in obedience. So I went ahead and stepped out on faith, and I'm glad I did. It's one of the best decisions I've made.
Yeah. So why the Dallas area?
Really, I'm from Georgia. I moved to Dallas after we went through in Atlanta a really tough church split. And so I moved to Dallas just kind of to heal, I had served as the executive pastor in that ministry and had been really, really giving my life to it. So to see it split did something to me on levels that I didn't really have language for at the time. So I got in therapy, I healed, I got married, and just really I was enjoying life as a healed man. And I recognized that the DFW was in need of a grace-filled expression that wasn't confined by religious norms. We believe in the moving of the Spirit, the gifts in the Spirit. Not to say that no one else does, but I recognize that the people here were kind of hungry for more of that. So I wanted to be a part of the what God wanted to do in the DFW region. So I felt that what God gave me was needed here, and I was glad to jump in and be a part of what he's already doing through so many here.
Yeah, you touched on being a part of a church split. I've got a personal testimony of I'm sure a lot of us do, of being a part of the ministry and then something goes sour, and like I've had like my family be shunned to where like we're not even allowed to walk back into this church, and
Yeah.
there was nothing wrong we did, and it was just on people. And so what advice would you give to people working through, I hate the term church hurt, but like really whenever they feel hurt or broken by people in leadership and ministry?
But really quick, before we jump into that, pastors, I'm going to ask you a question.
Can your church handle more new guests? If that answer is yes, then I want to tell you about ChurchCandy. See, at ChurchCandy, we help churches get more new guests on Sundays by running their Facebook and Instagram ads, inviting their city to church. We are on a mission to connect 1 million people to a local church, and so far, we have already connected over 250,000 people to churches all across the country, and we would love to send people to your church as well. Imagine all the people that drive by your church every single day that want to grow in their relationship with the Lord, that want to be plugged into a life-giving church community, but they have no idea that your church exists. We want to get them connected to your ministry. So go to churchcandy.com or hit the link below in the description. I'll also pin it in the very first comment so you can schedule a call with the Church Candy team, learn more, and see if we would be a good fit to work together. Now, back to the podcast.
I would encourage people to take their time. There's an idea that you're unsafe, unprotected, uncovered if you don't have a church home, which causes wounded people to rush back into those environments without taking time to process the pain. And so it recreates the cycle over again. One of the best things that I did was I took a break. I never left God, but I took a break from those, traditional leadership roles that I had always, kind of been sucked into or gravitated towards. I took time, I visited, I did consulting work, because it was my profession, if you would. But I didn't throw myself back into that environment unhealed. I made sure that I processed through all of my anger, processed through all of my resentment, processed through all of my disappointment so that I could see God's church from a healthy lens. I think that would be my main thing. Don't rush back in. Take your time to find a safe place. I would almost rather people stay home than jump into another unsafe environment that would exacerbate the pain that they've experienced.
Yeah. So once you kind of found healing through that,
Mhm.
what was going through you whenever God called you to start your ministry?
Oh, I was kicking and screaming. It was bad. I was like, I'm just getting healed up. I'm happily married. I'm stable. I'm moving in ministry in another way again. I'm I wasn't happy about it. But from a heal with healing came another level of just trust, and I followed God. I felt pain following him, but it doesn't mean that he ever left me. So I knew that as long as I stayed connected and submitted to him, whatever he was telling me to do, that he was going to bless us. I was terrified, but
Yeah.
I did it. And honestly, every fear that I had about it has just been not real. Like everything the devil told me about planning a church was a lie.
Yeah. Well, so what did those first like practical things you did once like you got confirmation from the Lord and
Mhm.
you started moving in that direction? What did that look like for you?
I'm a systems person. So, before I had a public ministry, like I said, I was an executive pastor. So I'm a behind the scenes type person. I started thinking like, okay, what are the steps that I need to do? What do I need to put together? And one of the first things that I knew that I needed to do was I needed to create language for a safe space. How was I going to teach people or show people that what I was building was safe, was trustworthy? So I started through that. And then I started working through on how to market, how to push that out to the people who needed to hear that there was another option in the area to try God out again. So I started working through those plans of writing out vision, gathering a team, utilizing my influence to just convey that there was another option. That was something that I really started working on and took my time to do. And I'm still seeing the fruit of that time and pace.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. And so once you guys start rolling, and you guys started working with Church Candy, tell me about that.
Yeah, ChurchCandy was such a breath of fresh air. So I'm familiar with digital marketing, but you know, I didn't have the flow of just the perfect flow that ChurchCandy has, if I'm honest. I didn't have that down pat in my mind. So I had tried doing ads on my own. And had tried doing, some digital stuff on my own through my own platform, but I wasn't seeing the results that I saw and still see working through ChurchCandy. It's been a blessing. New people are constantly showing up to our church. Our pastoral team, our connections team, is always surprised at the testimonies that we hear. One lady joined our church after not being a part of a church for 20 years. She's joined and connected to our ministry and is feeling love and is getting healed up. So it's been a pleasure working with ChurchCandy in getting those things. Um, as a new church, it was just great leverage to have to start growing at a healthy, steady pace.
Yeah. So you said you guys did some things on your own trying to market. What did that look like so people know, like, hey, we tried this and it didn't really work?
Oh yeah. Well, first we just started doing the boost posts. Instagram's always trying to get your money, right? So we started trying to just boost post on our own, and we didn't have the automations and all of the flows that you all beautifully have put together. We didn't have that, so we ended up, people would see us, but we would just or seen. No one was really interacting with us. No one was really following the ministry. They would say, "Oh, this is a great video," and may click like, but that was as far as we were getting. We were getting that low engagement. We were getting reach, low engagement, but none of those people were actually converting into people that walked into our doors and actually got to hug the people on our connection team and be seated and welcomed. It was just shooting in the dark. If I'm honest, we were
Yeah.
shooting in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's what I love about our program
Mhm.
is we try to give people, we don't want just them to see you on Instagram or see you on
Right.
Facebook. We want to give them a next step so that they walk through the front doors. And so do you have any metrics of either attendance growth or fruit that you guys have seen in your church since working with ChurchCandy?
Yeah, we normally see about five new families a Sunday. On good Sundays, we see maybe up to 15. But normally we see around about five new families a Sunday. They'll visit once, twice. Normally, by that third time, they make that decision. So in a year's time, we've grown to over 200 members as a new church who didn't plant from a large organization, who didn't split another church,
Yeah.
just a from the ground, a grassroots church
Yeah.
plant.
So for context, you guys didn't necessarily do the launch large model where you build a team for 18 months and do interest parties and then try to get a bunch of people in the room for a launch Sunday.
No, we didn't do that model. I started with the people who had been disciples of mine, students of what I do, and we started. We found a place, which it all fell in line miraculously. It wasn't. We didn't do the launch large model. I'm familiar with ARC churches. I've done work with them in past in the organization that I was a part of, so I was familiar with the model. But I knew that there was a wind on that time that we were planting. There was an opportunity there that I couldn't miss.
Yeah.
And so I took maybe 4 months to plan it out, to build it up, and I connected with ChurchCandy, and it allowed me to do a grassroots church plant without all of the time. And I don't have a problem with that model at all. But I didn't want a large church, if I'm honest. I've seen I've seen churches grow large like that and lose their focus and lose their vision. Um, I've been a part of helping people plant with the launch large model, and there's no dig against it or no shade towards it, but I've seen a lot of unhealthy ambition
Yeah.
from leaders, and so to guard my heart, I started a little smaller. I wanted to build a little more and with a little more intentionality. Um, I wanted discipleship to be the focus and the core of what I did, and I found a way to work with ChurchCandy to do and
Yeah.
build that. Yeah.
No, I love that. I think at the end of the day, like, I don't think there's one right or wrong way
Mhm.
to plant a church.
Yeah.
And it seems like God's blessed you guys and
Oh, yeah.
seeing good things. I always love hearing like specific stories of testimonies of people that found your church from the ads, got
Mhm.
connected, and now God is just doing like really cool things in your
Mhm.
life. Do you have any stories like that?
Yes, one of our members, her name is Elizabeth. She connected with us actually through those first set of ads that we did. We were doing for the conference. She found out about our ministry. She visited the conference. She actually came to the conference. And then when we became a church, she joined the church. Her and her husband were not in a strong place in their marriage. They'd experienced some a miscarriage and some different things that had caused their marriage to be really rocky. And they connected with our church. They became faithful um, visitors and they became faithful partners. And she's actually testified that because of connecting to our church through a Facebook ad, she's now her and her husband are in the healthiest place they've ever been in their marriage. And they're now believing God again. They have faith again to have a baby and they want to try again. So that's just one of the heart touching
Yeah.
stories that makes me keep going, that makes me keep plowing, keep planting, keep pushing because families are really being impacted and changed. Another one of our partners had been looking for her son. Her son was homeless and missing for a very long time, and she didn't know where they were, where he was. She didn't know um, um, what was going on with him. He had kind of just vanished, and found out later through being connected to our church that he was homeless in the streets of Dallas. She was able to find him, help him, reconnect with him. And she attributes that success to being a part of a praying church and connected to what's happening. She connected with us
Man.
through ChurchCandy. So it's been a lot of great stories that inspire and motivate us to keep going.
Man, that's so cool. What would you say to a pastor that they're hesitant, not even about church candy, but just social media and investing in digital in general?
Yeah, I would encourage them to like really, really pray and ask God for a mindset shift because I just have this hard belief that you're not going to see um, churches grow the way we used to grow. Churches used to grow by families, word of mouth only. You need that digital space now. You need to really invest in social media to weaponize it. It's really a tool for digital evangelism. If you want to get the word out, you want to get your sermon out, you want to get your vision in front of people. It almost has to be done through the digital space now. I mean, when I first started working with the Launch Large model, we were teaching people to do mailers and, mail X amount of mile radius, and it's really expensive to do that. And you have no way of measuring the success or tracking who's opening the mail, who actually got it, who,
Yeah.
with the digital model, or the social media space, you have much more data, much more analytics to see what's working, to tweak it. You're not shooting in the dark. So I would encourage all pastors to find faith, find a budget, and make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. Some other pushback that I see is, I mean, a lot of that's just transfer growth. You're stealing from other flocks. You're stealing from other ministries. Has that been your experience?
No, 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 no. The people who are coming to my church are people who haven't been to church. They're seeing a video and feeling the pull. They're feeling the call. They're feeling like, man, I need to get back in church. I teach this. We don't steal sheep. We grow grass. And there's people who are looking to eat the word of God. They want to be in the presence of God. And they're not in a church. There's so many people in the DFW who maybe grew up in the church, got away from God, who needs to see an ad from a church, who needs to see a Facebook or Instagram invitation to remind them that God's waiting on them. So that's not been our testimony. We're not seeing transfer from one church to another. We're seeing real people who left God come back to Him because they were sparked by a Facebook or Instagram ads.
That's huge, man. That's huge. I love that.
Mm.
Now, what about pastors that are considering using ChurchCandy? Maybe they're on the fence. What would you say to them?
I would tell them to just look at the numbers, look at the testimonies. Before I connected with Church Candy, I talked to people who used it. I talked to people who had experienced real growth, who were trustworthy people, who had they weren't going to gain anything
Yeah,
from telling me the
we
truth.
don't pay people to be like, hey, I'm gonna send you a lead. I need you to tell them good things. I'll Venmo you. Like, we don't do that.
No, real deal people who I trust in ministry, who've seen real deal growth in their churches through using Church Candy. So I would tell them to get off the fence. Talk to people. Reach out to me. I'll tell you. Talk to people who are using Church Candy for their weekly engagement with new visitors, new families, and 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 get off the fence and make it happen. It's something that I've seen that's been invaluable. Our church wouldn't have grown to the stable place that it is right now had we not had a visitor engagement system like Church Candy. Word of mouth, yes, we still get people who bring friends and visitors who just show up because they saw a new church in the community. But really, what's been essential for our growth and connecting with our community has been that those Church Candy ads.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, now we're gonna move into a segment of the podcast where I'm gonna ask you questions,
Mhm.
and this audience is not gonna be for pastors. So, like, this will still be in the pod, but what we've found is if I clip something from this podcast, and like you're gonna see ads with your face on it, talking about things you said about Church Candy, but I want to take some clips of things you say and use it for your ads for your church, just because podcast clips perform really well, because we believe in, hey, don't make your ads look like ads. So
Right.
I'm going to ask you questions about your church, and then my team's going to clip it and use it for you guys, because too, sometimes it can be hard for us to get content from churches to use for ads. So my team is going to love me for this, because we're going to have clips of you talking about the church that we can use in the ads.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
so so, man, your church in Dallas, tell me about it. Why would someone come check it out?
Our church in Dallas is a presence-filled, loving community that really believes in empowering families and equipping believers to be all that God's called them to be. We get a lot of people who are gifted and frustrated, and don't know what to do with what they carry. Our church has a special anointing to help those people navigate those frustrations and walk into purpose. So it's one of the things that I'm really excited about, to see people who God has a call on them. They feel a pull to evangelize, they feel a pull to do missions, and they don't have pathways to help them get into that place. Our church is really anointed to help them move into those places with confidence. We believe in equipping everybody that comes to our church and commissioning everybody that we equip.
Yeah. What's something that people love about your church?
Our worship is something that people really rave about. We believe in just a free worship environment where people can experience the presence of God. You don't have to worship the same way as your neighbor. You don't have to worry about being judged for the way that we just have a free worship environment where people can come and bear their heart to God and receive a touch from His presence. And I love looking out and seeing even visitors, first timers with their hands up, tears rolling down their face, experiencing the transformative power of God. It makes me want to keep doing what we're doing.
So, where are you guys located and what time do you meet?
Yeah, we're in Dallas, Texas at 2939 Sunnyvale Street. We meet every Sunday at 3 p.m. for our worship encounters, and we're seeing people from all over the city come and worship and love on Jesus together to get that equipping and go back out and touch the lives of the people that Jesus loves.
I love it. I love it. This is great stuff, man. Uh, Pastor Taurus, thank you so much for taking time to come on the ChurchCandy podcast. If a pastor or church planter wants to get connected with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can follow me on Instagram at Taurus Solomon. You can follow me on Facebook, same thing. at Taurus Solomon, or you can visit my website, taurussolomon.com. That's my email, but my website is taurussolomon.com. You can find me there. I respond to DMs any way that I can help or convince them to utilize ChurchCandy. I will reach out to me.
For sure, man. And then you have a lot of really cool resources and products that you have that are super valuable. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I started in 2019. I started an online school of ministry called Cultivate University, where we provide development on demand. And we've put together recently a 2-year program to train people who feel called to ministry. This program is designed to help people teach and understand sound Christian doctrine, but also flow in supernatural demonstration in a healthy, measurable way. So many people, over 400 people, have already connected and they're loving the program. We start with the foundations of our faith. We move through a little bit of systematic theology, and then we teach them supernatural demonstration. We meet weekly, and it's a affordable program that takes things that I learned over years of ministry and thousands of dollars in Bible college and packages it in an affordable, accessible way so that we can make more disciples who will in turn make more disciples.
Sweet. And if someone wants to check that out, what's the best way for them to do that?
If you want to check that out, all you need to do is text ministry to 770-746-8147. That's ministry to 770-746-8147. You're going to receive a link that's going to take you directly to the landing page, and you can read all about the program and sign up.
Sweet. Awesome. And we'll also, you can send it to me. I'll link to that landing page in the description of this. So if any of you guys want to check it out, go look into it. It's great stuff. Amazing. And did you see that? We just got another clip that I can give back to you. And now you can use that to promote your ministry school, Cultivate University, on top of that. Well, guys, go hit up Pastor Taurus, everything he's got going on. Thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Thank you so much, Brady. It's been a pleasure to be with you.